Welcome to Circuitry 2.0. I'm Scott Van Orden, or SvanO, aka SvanO. Welcome to my coloring hour. I'm going to do a few shout outs if I could real quick. As you know, Circuitry 2.0 is a global live stream. So there's art and performances from people all over the globe. Shout out to LA, Nashville, me in DC, and we have people in Berlin. We've got people in India. Some of the artists you've seen on the last live stream are going to be performing again. This is my first time, and I am truly honored and humbled. Let's get started on the coloring hour, though. Basically, I'm going to take you through one of my illustrations that is available for download. You can download that at SvanOdesign.com. I also have it on my Facebook page. I've been posting it quite a bit, so hopefully you guys have some way to download it. And what we're going to do is kind of color together today. So I have here on my drawing board poster size version of the downloadable image that you'll be coloring, and I will be coloring this one, and then after the little color show I'm gonna auction it off. So we got some tunes spinning. Sit back, kick back, pick up a pencil. I'm thinking probably a lot of people have crayons laying around. Crayons, colored pencils, that kind of thing. I'm going to use Faber-Castell's watercolor pencils, which are really nice. Watercolor pencils, fun fact, you can actually do dry and wet media with it, so you can actually add some water to it, which is a real cool saturated kind of look. I'm going to do a combination of dry and wet, and yeah, let's get going on this thing. I'm going to start off with a little orange on the sky, and we're going to go into the flowers a little bit. Good tunes. This is my secret playground, by the way. This was part of the live stream from our last circuitry. Dig it. And when I'm laying in my orange here, what I'm doing is just creating a layer. I'm kind of doing little crosses, making little crosses on the page. Take a look here. Basically a bunch of little X's we're kind of making as we go along, and it's creating our first layer. I chose orange just because it's a little bit lighter color. If you don't have orange, of course you can combine yellow and red to make some orange. And another fun fact I wanted to share with you about colors, maybe warm versus cool colors. I'm sure you've heard those terms before. Maybe you don't really know what they are. Warm colors being, you know, your yellows and reds. Cool colors being more of your greens and blues. Something fun about how the color translates to the eye. Warm colors, you know, tend to be, warm colors are a little more active and a little more exciting, so they're going to jump out a little bit, where cool colors are going to recede. So if you have a drawing that you're working on and you have a main subject, what you want to do is do an either or thing with the background and the subject. Okay, so the subject, for instance, the owl, is actually, I'm going to go with cool colors on the owl and warm colors on the flowers in the background. So that will create a little popping that goes on. I got this here is a digital coloring that I did of this particular illustration. And the illustration, by the way, is called The Owl in the Morning Glory. It's dedicated to my mother. I actually created it to do my niece actually asked me to do a tattoo to commemorate my mom. Unfortunately, we lost her to cancer a few years ago, but basically I created this tattoo in my mom's honor. So I thought this would be kind of a fun picture to do for coloring hour, kind of get us in the groove. Everybody likes owls, right? Everybody likes birds. They've got feathers. They're cool. Flowers. Everybody's into flowers and flora. But anyways, this digital illustration represents the blue color for the owl, right? That I was telling you about. And I actually used some violets and different colors in the flowers in this one. I'm going to change it up for my big illustration and do warm colors. But you can see how the popping happens with the warm color in the background really stands on by itself, and then the subject, the owl and the flowers, kind of pop out. So we've got cool colors going on, and then we've got the background in warm colors. So that's exciting stuff. Back to it. Back to a little orange into the flower. Now, as we move along, I'll probably be giving some more tips and tricks and stuff, but I also want you to enjoy some of the music because it's lit. I'm a slow colorer. I color very slow. It takes me a long time to get an illustration done. Some people are really quick. They can really throw down some color, and I admire that, but I kind of take my time. I have a lot of detailed stuff. A lot of my illustrations and inkings are very detailed. So I like to spend, 4 to 6 hours on a poster-sized page like this one. Yeah, it works for me, and different techniques and styles are going to work for you, but hopefully this little exercise that we got going on here will just encourage you to do more. So got a new camera and I mounted it to my drawing board. So psyched. I can take you anywhere. Nice. Alright. Little update here. Basically you can see I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Jumping around on the drawing. Filling those flowers with a little orange, warming it up. And I do like to bounce back and forth. What I'll do is I'll work on some flowers for a while, and then I'll go into the owl with some cool colors here in a bit. Have to have music. Whenever I'm drawing, when I'm creating things, music is a must-have. It's a part of the process. It's part of the experience, It's kind of total fulfillment. I'm creating something on the page while listening to another artist. It can be very motivating, stimulating. It can carry me along. It has its ebb and flows, which is really cool. Oh, and if you haven't noticed by now, I'm also getting into t-shirts and stuff like that. So all that stuff's going to be available in my app stores. Got some different things on clothes, and posters, and it's all my illustrations. But enough about me. Let's get back to color. Now if you lay out a pattern with those X's I was talking about earlier, another fun thing to do is in the actual color that you're applying is to think about the spatial relation. And what I mean by that is, say we're using the X pattern, so big X's would be in the foreground and smaller X's would be in a receding background. That's going to add some depth to your color as well. It's a good tip. It's a freebie. You're welcome. It's what I'm here for. Oh, unfortunately, this is pre-recorded. We are kind of faking it, drawing together, unfortunately. I have to make that, but with the secret of cameras and technology, it feels like you're right here, doesn't it? With me. But actually, I'm going to go to my Facebook Live and Instagram Live during the time that I'm on, which is going to be, I believe it's 10 o'clock. I'm in the 10 o'clock slot, but you can check the schedule list for Circuitry 2 just to make sure. But I'll be going live too, and probably still working on this because it's a really large illustration. Oh, and Circuitry 2 charity this year, or this round, I should say, is going to be for Cure, Project Cure. And you can go to projectcure.org to donate. Basically, it helps more of the medical side, medical sharing, funding for people that are in this whole COVID thing right now that are helping out people. So we're going to raise some money for that, hopefully. We will. Alright, so let's see what we got so far. You can see the X's that I'm talking about here, the X patterns. And as I put more color on the page, I'm actually going to vary those X's that I was talking about too, where we'll get some bigger X's, which will be a foreground element, and then the receding smaller X's, which give you that background. It gives you depth in your color. Sharing the love here in the music a little bit. Bear with me 1 second here. Ba-bum. We're gonna change it up a little bit in the music and go to a little Flip Knob. Flip Knob did a set for Circuitry last time around and it was awesome. Let's get right into it. There we go. Actually going to change up, I'm going to go into the owl feathers a little bit with some cool color now. So I'm going to just add a little light blue element here, which is nice. Another nice feature with the light blue is that it is the complementary color to the orange. So you'll see a lot of orange and blue. One thing that comes to mind is, say, the Florida Gators, blue and orange. I love how it just pops. I don't know how many sports fans are out there, but I do follow sports on occasion. But the blue in the owl feathers, just gonna we're gonna do some more X patterns. This is all about X pattern when you're laying down your colors. It's also known as crosshatching. And I'm just trying to be real general with you guys because I really don't know your art levels, where you're at. I'm sure everybody's had an art class. I myself have gone to school and got a degree in comic books. So I have a pretty wide exposure and experience. Had some great professors along the way that taught me a lot. So hopefully I can share some of those techniques and trips as we go along. So let's trip out to some music here. Alright, so I'm getting some of the light blue on the owl feathers, and I'll actually coloring a spot here fairly close to a flower so you can see the early stages of the contrasting that's going on between the blue, the cool blue color, and the warm orange color. Got this GoPro on cinematic, so hopefully that helps it out a little bit as far as my movements and such, because I do move a lot when I'm drawing. It's healthy, it's important. You should always move. Alright, here we go with the blue. Gosh, this is like watching paint dry. Pun intended. Thank you all for watching too. I really appreciate it. All the artists that are involved, this collaboration. We're really trying to make a difference here, and your support means a lot. So shout out to you too. Thank you. Hopefully you're having fun. I mean, you're coloring. Coloring relieves stress. We're all stressed out right now. I'm a little stressed doing this video, I'll be honest with you, but coloring helps me relieve that stress. And there's actually been some leading universities, I don't know, Yale or Harvard, but some of the bigger schools have done studies on coloring and found that it actually does relieve stress. So this whole coloring book fad that's happening right now is on par, because everybody should be coloring. Stressful times. Flip knob, tearing it up. Man, there's a lot of feathers on this page, guys. I tried to see how many feathers I could fit on this owl. I think I crammed as many as I could on here without getting too crazy. I think it makes a decent page and should provide hours of fun for everyone. Alright, so this light blue is laying out. We got some light blue. I'm going to go ahead and switch it up again. I'm going to go with a darker blue. Don't be afraid to go from light to dark. Actually, probably one of the best coloring processes that I can recommend is starting with lighter colors. Like if you're going to use, say, blue for instance, start with a light blue, especially on a white surface like this. If you start with like a light blue and then add your dark blue on top, you're basically working light to dark, which a lot of professors, I mean, there's always argument for procedures and techniques and how to do things, but if you work from light to dark, you can always kind of control it a little more. There's a little more control there because you can actually, if you go from dark to light, for instance, you're kind of forced into a corner. So, applying a little bit of a darker blue here. And always keep in mind your light direction. I should have brought that up a little bit earlier, but as you color, you're going to have a light source, okay? And it's an imaginary light source. Use your imagination. So the light source, basically what I like to do is have a light source. Say if it's a bird that's flying or in flight, maybe have your primary light source coming from the bottom up or across the page. What you want to do is add a dynamic to your coloring by thinking about where that light source is coming from, and the main lamp of the light is going to have the lightest areas, and then as you work away from that light source, you're going to get darker colors. So, keeping it in layman's terms for you. So what I'm doing with the darker blue is keeping it on the right side of the feather, because my light source will be coming from my left bottom. Okay. Sorry if that sounds a little complicated, but here's a little bit of what's going on right now. You can see in the blue, the darker blue is actually in the darker blue. You'll see a little shape starting to happen in the feather. Because you've got the dark blue on one side of the feather, where your lighter blue is going to be on the other side. And still continuing with the X pattern, of course, because I love crosshatch. Crosshatch can be so dynamic. Break it down, flip knob, alright. I'm having so much fun, guys. Thank you for having me. Let's pump up the volume. Making progress so far. Just gonna add a little more dark blue, a few more feathers here, and get comfortable. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Time to change up. Continue with the dark blue. Dark blue in it. Alright. Now at this angle you can see a little bit more of the cross hatching that's going on with the blues. And I think you can also see that I like to take my time on these things and just chill. We're just chilling. You and I are chilling today. Tell you what, let's get back on that light blue a little bit here. A little more light blue in these areas. And also with the lighter colors that you put down, feel free to just kind of place those, because what you're doing is just filling up your area a little bit, okay? You're still going to add those X's in there. You're still going to add just a little bit of detail as you apply it. Keep some kind of direction in mind, like when you're putting it on the paper, if you have a direction and you continue with that direction, it's really going to show in the color and translate well, okay? We'll take this little spot here, for instance. If I can zoom in a little bit for you here. Shadow. Using the light blue and the dark blue. Okay, right here. This dark blue is being applied because we have this little gull here from the owl. This little chin. I like to call it the owl goatee, having a little goatee thing going on right here. So I'll probably do a slightly different color just to make this area the owl pop too. I'm going to do the same thing here. I created a heart, so the heart's going to pop. And then of course, like the eyes and the beak, we can get really crazy on. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of excited to get into the eye a little bit, so maybe we do the eye. Now the eyes are going to be a little separate. What I'd like to do with those is maybe do a little bit of warm and cool. Okay. And don't be afraid. I know I said before, you want to do something, you want to do like a cool background and a warm subject, or vice versa. Like we're doing the owl cool and the background warm. It's okay to cross the streams a little bit, especially different features, maybe different features on your subject. If you're trying to highlight a value or an area in specifically on a subject, it's okay to go ahead and cross the streams. And I think with an owl's eye, from what I recall, reference photos are key. But with this particular owl, I'm going to do a little pattern in here in the eye that we see a lot in a lot of eyeballs. But this guy in particular, I'm using the red, going with the red here to start. It's probably translating orange, but it actually is red. Here's the orange flower, the red. The idea here is to get the reflection of the flower in the eye. Trippy, huh? Crazy, I know. But if an owl was flying and had all these flowers around it, you would see some of those flowers in the eye because the eye is very reflective. So keep that in mind too as you color. Let's see what happens if I add just a little bit of blue now. Add a little bit of blue in here because blue is still a contrast color. And follow that pattern that I laid down in the red. Basically, you're laying some of the blue over the red. And I'm going to go back over the dark blue with a little bit of yellow too. So now you can see I'm already mixing 3 different colors. I got the red, the dark blue, and the yellow going in the eye. So that's special. Now in the early stages it may look a little muddy. That's okay. We're going to bring that out to pop it a little more. But in comparison here, if you kind of go, we go over here and look at the flowers, and then we kind of look at the owl, you can start to see that there's going to be some depth, which I'm pretty excited about for you and for me, because I want a good drawing, you want a good drawing, or a good coloring page. And coloring can bring so much to the page. Alright. So now I'm going to add a little light blue. Let's go ahead and add this other eye in here too. Get right in there. Get right in there. Fun with this camera too, sorry about that. Okay, let's go back to, here. Kind of hoping to get a little cross pattern here. This X pattern that I'm laying down here too is going to create a style. Okay. I think every artist has a style, maybe a style they're known for, or a look that they're trying to achieve, to express, and the crosshatch is a big part of it for me. I use it quite a bit in a lot of my illustrations and coloring. So, let's get this heart going on. I'm going to lay some bigger lines on the heart. Now, it would be fun, I just thought of this, hopefully you're thinking of different things to include in your coloring, but it would be fun if I could make this heart beat a little bit, say. We make the heart beat. To do that, we probably want to divide it up into sections a little bit. So I will start breaking this down into shapes, coloring just parts of it, coloring shapes of it. And hopefully that creates some depth to make it look like a beating heart. It can be a little tricky to make things move on the page, but I have done it before and I've been successful, and darn it, I'm gonna do it again with you. Alright. So we broke the heart into a couple pieces here. Let's just pan down the image real quick. We look at the eyes and get some of the feathers. Break it down. Alright, so on the heart, I laid in the red. What else do I have? Ooh, I actually have in my arsenal of Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, I've got a violet. This violet, we're going to lay some violet in here. And we're going to edge the whole thing in violet. Now you can forgive your cross-hatching a little bit here. Just go ahead and just lay that gentle violet down on the page. What I'm hoping to do is get like a real nice immediate jump on showing you how you can make it jump off the page. There we go. That's looking good. All right. Sometimes I impress even myself. Happy accidents. Bob Ross quote right there. Well, happy accidents happening right now. Alright, let's see. We need to embrace those happy accidents. Now I'm also going to add a gentle, I call it gentle layer of white. Laying some white on top for the first time. Now, this brings up the subject of tinting versus shading. Little known fact, actually, you're going to enjoy this one. White, if you add white to a color, it's known as a tint. Okay, so that's tinting a color. If you add black to a color, that's shading a color. So therein is your difference between shading and tinting. Maybe for more of my advanced students out there, but it's very helpful. You get to understand how shading works and how tinting works and what the differences are there. So, yeah. Adding a little more white. Alright, I think it's really starting to pop.
With devastating quakes inside, the golden heart began to shine.
Always step away to take a look at what you've done before you dive back in. If you need to make any corrections as far as the direction goes, now would be the time. Kind of see what's going on here. Okay. Let's add a little yellow. Add a little yellow to the flower in this guy. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have much time today to go into the wet part of this process, which is a fun thing. Maybe I'll do another video for you on YouTube to continue this process, because there's no way we're going to get this done today. You guys realize that. Not at this rate, but hopefully this experience has been unique and fun and encouraging to a lot of people out there. But yeah, so we're adding some yellow to the orange right now. And you can see the yellow really pops as well. What we're doing is running little X's through the orange that we've already applied. And that yellow is showing up pretty nice on my screen anyways. Hopefully you guys can see the nice colors just popping off the page. It's all about popping. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. Oh yeah. Guys, it's looking really sharp. Cool. Forgive me for the camera shadow, but I'd like to get in really close to the subject. Check it out. Let's do a little bit of this background. Maybe we can think of a cool little pattern we can come up with for the background. So you can see in this digital, oops. So you can see in the digital design here, if I go into the background, you can see I did a little bit of direction. Getting a bad glare because it's glossy. I apologize. But yeah, think about your background. Especially this bird is going to be in flight, right? It's a flying bird, so there's going to be almost a motion in the background. So keep in mind your lighting, okay? Where your light direction is, where it's coming from. Think of the sun. Maybe the sun is a good point. I like to go opposite, but as you color more pages, I think you'll be more comfortable with trying some different things that way. But on the background, I think we're going to select someplace here where we have, this is actually probably the perfect spot. We're going to lay some longer lines. Just laying some lines here. If you had diagonal lines versus like, you know, just your straight line, and diagonal lines are going to give you a more dynamic feel anyways. And it's all about dynamics and color. Dynamics and color. Let's turn this down a little bit more. Jamming. Alright. That's fun. Alright, so the yellow's really popping. Got the orange flowers, got the blue in the feather. Got a few different colors in the eyes. Got that heart pulsing. I'm making some pretty good progress on this guy today. Let me go in with a little red. I'm doing a little red here. you guys can see that or not, but I actually went over the flower a little bit. I didn't stay inside the lines. I went outside the lines. That's okay. It's alright. By the time you create layers on this and get this thing going, you won't even notice that. Alright. So now in the background we've got the red. I'm going to switch back to yellow again up here. Keep in mind your direction, what direction you're going. Feel the direction. Don't be too straight-laced with it though, okay? Don't worry about, oh, my line is crooked, or they're not perfectly straight. That's okay. It's going to add another dynamic. As long as you keep a certain pattern that's present, throughout, you're going to get some good results, okay? And you can see that background, okay? There's the background. We got the eyeballs, a little bit of the feathers. Starting to see some separation between the subject of the owl and the background already. And if and when you add some wet, you add a little water in particular, if you add a little water to this background, it's really going to make it pop. That's what I love about these pencils. But I'm going to keep it dry just because, you know, for technical reasons, we've got a camera right here and I'm kind of experimenting and just doing it dry. We're going to keep it simple. Keeping it simple. Having fun with color. Alright. Back to the red a little bit. Get up in here. Oh, I also have this. What I do is whenever I'm coloring, I'll have another sheet of paper, and basically I can just see what these colors do on this paper. And it's the same paper as the owl, so it's going to give you the same consistency. But if you have a swatch on the side, you can kind of see what different colors do, how they react to each other. I'm just adding a little bit of violet to some red and yellow and getting this color, which is cool. This of course would be for your more advanced people that really want to get that color translated well. It's okay to just color on the page, of course, but if you want to get a better idea of how those colors are actually going to translate for you, I would suggest having another piece of paper. This is the violet and the red, the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. So there's kind of the difference between the two there. But you can see I've done quite a bit of experimenting over the past couple of illustrations, so I've got quite a bit of markings on that piece of paper. Alright guys, let's get to, let's see, get the heart pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Take a look. Ooh, yeah. I think the claws are a fun little feature there. So let's go with, again, working light to dark. So I'm going to use a little bit of yellow here to bring the claws out from the feathers. Okay. And again, since it's a lighter color, I can just kind of lay that right on the page. Not worrying so much about the cross-hatching that I was talking about before. idea real quick here. Alright, so those are the claws. The talons. They're the talons of the owl. Aye, the talons of the owl. Let's see here. Gonna move back here real quick. A little bit of adjusting. Oh man, are you guys watching the time? I'm almost at an hour. This is a coloring hour, so time flies when you're having a good time. Hopefully you guys are. Let's see. I am going to go into the heart a little bit more here with the violets and continuing to work this drawing. Hopefully the tips and tricks that I kind of shared with you today are helpful. Feel free to use any and all of them, and I encourage coloring, because coloring relieves stress, and we're all a little stressed right now. I want to say some thanks, of course. So we're going to throw some thanks to Rabotat Records for putting this on, for hosting this. I'm honored to be a part host in this, in creating the artwork, some of the poster and design and stuff like that. I got to help out with these guys. But Iron Fist has been doing an amazing job with the overlays and the look for Circuitry 2. So shout out to Iron Fist and his music. He'll be doing a little music for you today as well. The man is multi-talented. Shout out to Madame Defer, of course. Those two work well together. They do some incredible work, and I'm very thankful for them. And then I want to shout out to Just Whiskey, which I've done some artwork with in the past. Just Whiskey with Emily Kidd and Dave Austin, the rest of the bunch over there in Nashville. Good luck on your set. It's going to be great. And to all the other artists out there, you guys are doing something special, and it means a lot to a lot of people. Thank you. All right, got that heart pumping. Get you guys some information on how to get a hold of this piece too. We'll be auctioning it off for the Cure project. Go to projectcure.org. Check out them, see what they're all about. But this little ditty's going to go to auction, and hopefully we raise some money, do some good to fight the good fight against COVID. Thanks again to Flipknob too, because I've been zoning out to some really great spins, and he's a great DJ. Hopefully this little coloring hour that we had together is inspirational. Hopefully it hopefully you guys can color more pages, and I have coloring books available too, of course. If you need the material, if you need the pages to color, look me up, SvanOdesign.com, or you can email me too. I've got an email, a Gmail, SvanOdesign. But yeah, it's been great, guys. Have a good one.